it's called liability.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
right. I
and
knew there was a reason things had changed. It's
well,
lawyers.
yes. I think that there's a big misconception about, well, if we have an aggressive dog, we're going to call the police, and they'll take it.
Yes, yes, people do
And
think that. It's so confused, isn't it?
yeah, and being around a lot of police dogs and police dog trainers and having involvement in that world, I can tell you this: the selection for a qualified, certified police dog, it is intense, and a lot of dogs wash out. And while you need a high threshold to be able to, the ability to turn on and create aggression in a dog for police
Yes,
work,
yes.
the dog that is just randomly biting anyone is not a dog that a police department, with the liability issues coming up again, is going to want to put themselves in a relationship with. So
They need to have a dog with an on-off button, and that's
yeah,
partly genetic and partly early training, like with this dog
control.
you just placed in Orange County. I mean, you bred a
Yeah,
dog, you knew the parentage, you knew what kind of temperament would come out of that dog. And at a mere year and a half, when most of us are lucky to get our large breed dog to like sit down and pay
yeah, walk.
attention,
Yeah,
you have a dog who's already an explosive detection dog. You must
yeah,
have known from puppyhood. I'm sure there's temperament tests you do on your little guys to know which of them will have that level of drive and yet
yeah.
attentiveness to what you want, right?
Yes, and it's even further back than that. You're looking at not just the dog that you're going to use selection wise for parents. You're looking at grandparents, great grandparents, and this is where proper pedigree information, and registries come in, because if you can really tell and you can DNA match, you have a better idea of what you're going to turn out. And there's plenty of people that have two dogs, they put them together and they breed them. And I can tell you, I had the support of some of the most amazing people during the process for selection and breeding. I couldn't ask for a better team, because it really was a kind of a team effort to produce the last two litters and come up with a dog that was capable of that.
And in your litter, let's say a German Shepherd has as many as 8 puppies. How many of those do you discover are suited for serious police detection, explosive sniffing, and so forth?
Out of my last litter, the size was actually 12, and
Woo wee!
yeah, it was a little more than I thought. And I would say out of 12, we probably had 5 really good, solid dogs that could go into work
So that's
environment.
quite good, but it isn't even 50%. So what?
Yeah.
So do you talk to your clients and customers? I mean, I'm sure you must have a waiting list. I mean, you still have these gorgeous bloodlines, and they have an upbringing, in your home that's quite extraordinary. Do you have a waiting list of people who would just love a magnificent German Shepherd with really physically and mentally solid background?
Yeah, and people with the internet, the availability for anyone to go online, put up a website, it really has changed things quite a bit. And people will go by again, what they say. Don't tell me, show me. And I show people. I bring them out and I show them my dogs around their children. The same dog that can go and do a bite apprehension on a 250-pound man can then be around their children playing with the ball and understand the difference between those two environments and situations. So back to then, again, building in what you want in a dog, building aggression that's pretty much on demand, on call. And
But
there's a big
you don't do
difference.
that with all 12 puppies. You start them very young and evaluate them very young, and then the 7, let's say, of the 12 that you know are not going to make the cut for the police or military. Do you just raise those the way any responsible good breeder raises them, with, some a little bit of obedience training and a happy young life, and then at 8 or 10 weeks they're out the door?
I usually don't put them out till 10 to 12 weeks, believe it or not. I hold
Nice.
on to them a little bit longer.
Nice.
And what I tend to do is pre-programming for environmental exposure. A lot of veterinarians tell people not to even, and especially Manhattan, don't put the dog out in the street till they're 4 months old. Well, the window for generalization shuts on the dog
That's right.
between 16 to 20 weeks, so you're missing a critical stage of development. And what I tend to do is take all my puppies, and I drive them to a home improvement center, which we will not name,
Right.
and at 6 weeks old, I put the dogs in a cart, walk them around the store,
I'll
put
be
down a
darned.
yoga mat, and put them on the floor and let them see the world.
Oh my
And
God, that's great.
that they are, I like to say, quote unquote, they're pretty much bulletproof environmentally after that.
They've seen it all.
Every shape, size, color, person, noises, and think
Right.
about the racks, the sizes of everything around them. They can take it in, and they're supported during it. And that way, when a client comes, I know that I handled the initial environmental exposure aspects. And even if I have someone like dead of winter, who wants to stand outside and
Correct.
introduce to people during like the weather we had the last 2 weeks?
Yep.
And I'm always pushing clients outdoor for that, because that's one of the best ways to head off aggression early is environmental exposure.
And then, so that's the environmental one. And then, of course, they need to, at some point, meet other dogs. But that is something that should come quite naturally to dogs. They're pack animals. They like other dogs. I think the ones that have trouble are the ones that have had previous ownerships and they're gone through shelters and they've gone through that. I just want to say a quick word about the Internet. One of my listeners, Bambi, is very concerned that I had given a lot of warnings about petfinder.com and the fact that some puppy mill breeders have now infiltrated it like a virus, if you will. And she wanted me to say that, buyer beware is true of everything.
Yeah,
and that Pet Finder is still an extraordinary place to find rescue and shelter dogs. But if you see purebred puppies on there and they're a price that is anything like what you'd buy a puppy for, those are what I call puppy mill pimps. And they have virally gotten into petfinder.com and they're abusing this wonderful site for their own needs. So she wanted me to say, but it's still a great place to find rescue and shelter dogs. And if someone like Shawn, dogsareasy.com is his website. If you can find a German Shepherd puppy, there are many great breeders like Shawn of various dogs. Usually they only have one breed of dog. That's at the maximum 2 breeds, but really one breed of dog shows you it is a true breeder and not someone doing volume production. Then, as he said, you need to meet that person and meet those dogs. And anyone who would take a tiny puppy and put it on an airplane, they should be put in the hold of an airplane in 20-degree weather. I would love to see them in a crate in 20-degree weather because that's their cutoff. And those people are, to a man and to a woman, bad folks doing bad stuff and definitely lying to you about the origins of those puppies and their parents and grandparents. And when you hear Shawn talk about this, it just goes to show you, as when I have Meet the Breeders, that these are generations where you're looking for good quality physically. You don't have hips that fall apart. You have a good mind. You have a good heart and soul. You have, physically and mentally the very best possible animal. I think the next time you come on, I'd love to talk about how you do take those puppies and edge them towards military and police work. We've run out of time now, but that would be a fantastic topic. Anyone with a dog with any issues that frighten you, when you are scared of your dog, this is the man you need, because your fear may be correctly applied and it may not be. And I think really this is what you want to do. You want to go to dogsareasy.com. Let Shawn evaluate your dog and tell you if you got a big problem or a small problem. In any case, it's not something to do alone. And I want you really all to remember that. Aggressive dogs are not something to handle alone. You don't know what's going on, and whatever bad behavior is, with any chance, probably you're going to make it worse, not better. So, Shawn, thank you for all you do. It's really exciting. I hope people will visit your website. And
thank you.
I can't wait to talk again about these bomb detecting dogs and all this great stuff you do. It's really cool.